What if the one everyone was waiting for is actually you? What if all the things that your bloodline had to go through, the fighting for survival, the adversity they had to overcome, the trials they had to endure, what if all of that was just to get to you, to get you the ability to actually make all of those things worth it? What if everything that came before you was just your bloodline lifting you up into the perfect position to be able to actually step into the role of game changer? What if God actually picked you out of everyone to actually break the cycle, to sever the chains? I believe that you are the one. I believe you were called to do that very thing. Otherwise, you wouldn't be seeing this. But maybe you're just not living like that's the case. Maybe you're like me, who's lacked belief for a majority of life. Or someone who just becomes susceptible to doubt. Now, maybe at one point you actually believed that you were called to be that person, but then somewhere along the line, the enemy whispered in your ear and convinced you otherwise. I don't think that you have to wait for someone else to come in and do it. Have you ever got the feeling where you're always the one to step up and take action? Where when there's a group setting, you always have something to say, but maybe you lean back, and instead of saying something, you want to let someone else say something. See if somebody, pops up and actually drops some impact. You ever felt like you have to speak because no one else has the courage to? Do you think that these feelings are just chance for no reason? His plan is perfect. No one's better at planning. None of these things are coincidences. None of the challenges, none of the struggles, none of the bad habits you fall into and struggle to break out of. None of it is by chance. It's all for a reason. It's all to serve a higher purpose than what's actually able to be seen right now. Whenever we're in the moment, we don't always realize the level of impact, what we're encountering, the level of transformation that we're, seeing unfold, but only after we look back and analyze. It's really difficult to see when we're in the mud because the mud blocks the view. It's difficult. It takes some time to wash the mud off. So why can't it be you? Why does it have to be someone else? Why does it have to be the same cycle repeated over and over and over again? Why do you have to be part of the cycle, and why can't you break it? Imagine the new trajectory that your bloodline would take if you just stepped into the role that you've been called to. As I said before, you wouldn't be seeing this if it wasn't true. I need you to break the chain. I need you to sever the connection to the same old loop that your family bloodline has been perpetuating. All of these things lined up perfectly for you to step in and allow God to work through you so you can make some true transformations. It's all up to you and your obedience to the source. You see, when we begin to actually depend on the source of everything, by the way, then there's nothing that can possibly get in our way that'll actually stop us. It's impossible. And if you believe that it's possible, then are you saying that obstacle is more powerful than the source? Because that's actually what we end up saying when we doubt, when we have the unbelief. It's like, will it actually work? But this challenge, this obstacle, just, it seems so overwhelming. Yeah, to you, but not to him. And when we partner together, then there's a new level of potential that we can tap into that's been stored within us, that was inaccessible before. But maybe we just either never had the courage, or maybe we just didn't know that is the way to tap into that friction, that fire, that ability that lies inside. We all have incredible potential stored within us. But many of us run out of tomorrows, never having tapped into it. Having some vague idea of what our potential might be, without ever fully understanding the full scope of things. Hoping that one day we'll start that thing that we feel inside of us that is calling towards us. That this is something I should do. But then we never do it. We get caught up in putting it off for tomorrow and allowing today's worries and anxieties to overtake our mind, to overwhelm us to the point where we just don't take action. To help us stay in the mindset of, we'll always have time to do it. But there's more important things right now. Of course, we'll always have responsibilities, but we also have the responsibility to walk in our calling, to discover what we're made of, to see just how far what's inside of us can go once we start aligning. So if you made it to this point in the video, take action. Make the change. You don't have to do anything drastic today. You don't have to take huge, gigantic leaps today. Just take a step. You see, the people who take the enormous leaps, they eventually fall off because it's difficult to sustain. But the people who take the small steps, just, I'm going to do just this one task for today that aligns with my calling. Those are the people who complete the race. Those are the people who remain consistent, disciplined, remaining in the game. So if you made it to this point, I appreciate you. And again, you didn't see this for any reason. There's one true reason. Sever the connection. Feel free to subscribe, like, comment, whatever you want to do. But we'll be back again. So I'll see you in the next video. Adios for now.